Hi, welcome. My name is Ollie. I run the Harvest Department here at Logie Timber. Today we'll be talking about the logs, kind of reading off them and trying to tell what's in the log and what we can get out of it mostly before putting it onto the mill. So this log in particular is a big elm and it's too big for our mill. So I need to cut it down to get it shaped so it will fit onto the mill before we can process it further. This particular piece of elm came into our yard beginning of the summer. It's actually from Granton-on-Spey, and so you'll notice at either end we've got a reference number. So each log that comes into the yard we'll put into our database for when it came in, where it's from, our number it's on the log, and then this number will stay with the timber. Even if we make a chopping board, we can have where that timber came from at the start. So this log isn't particularly beautiful. There's quite a lot of defects to it, quite a lot of rot. You can see on the sides, literally crumbling off. There's some insect infestation. You see there's quite a bit of ring shake in this elm. I don't see a lot of ring shake in elm, but that's quite bad. At the other end as well, it's even worse. There's a huge section of rot where the tree's just crumbled away. So that's why I'm quite happy to cut this down. So the max we can get onto our mill is 1.13 wide. So that's what I've already marked up onto the log here. That's where I'll be cutting. I'm quite happy to lose a bit of it because I'm going to focus mainly on the heart of the timber. As you can see, these are two branches coming out here. So the middle of this is one big crotch, and that's a great feature to get in your timber. It's one of my favourite features. Whereas a lot of the burr and features on the edge aren't really worth keeping. But it doesn't mean we can't then process these down further. Trying to read what else is in the log. I mean, big logs like this will often have nails in if they've been at the edge of fields, so farmers have tried to attach their fence to it. And so you need to keep an eye out for that. Looking at the ends to see what kind of cracks are running through. So at the other end of the log, I've basically matched up this line here because there's a crack that's running through. So I'm going to try and capture the crack. So that way only one board is going to be really wasted. Whereas if I have the crack running up the way and all the boards like that, all the boards have a big crack running through them. And it's quite lucky actually that crack is running with the crotch, so I can get that feature. Elm moves a lot when you cut it, when it's drying. It's one big ball of tense timber. Only when you start cutting it, you kind of see where it's going to move. But elm often grows either one big twist or one big twist and back and forth, which is one of the reasons why it's really hard to split. Then, like I said, some insect infestation. That would just be surface, really. You see the sapwood running around the elm here. It's quite hard to tell where the sapwood is with elm sometimes. But you see there, some insect infestation. I messed that word up. And that won't be going too deep into the timber. So you can tell that this tree has died from Dutch elm disease, like many elm trees that have died and swept across through the UK. The main reason you can tell, you see there's kind of lots of little shoot pieces that were on the tree when it was living. That's kind of the tree's putting out its last hopes of trying to get some leafage, some foliage out to try and get a bit of nutrients back. You can tell when a tree is massively diseased and is dying. You'll see just limbs dying back bit by bit. And so wherever there is a point it can put out shoots, it will try, but alas, it didn't survive. So this is one of the piles of hardwoods we've got storing up this track. It's a bit of a mix here. There's quite a bit of beech in this pile. You can tell it's beech. Beech is the whitewood, so it's really susceptible to fungal infection. So it's already starting to rot away. Most of this is elm. It's nice big berry bits here. When you mill oak, you can smell the tannins in it. It's really hard hitting. Cedar is an iconic smell. Elm smells, I read in the book the other night, it smells of mold, and I think it does as well. Notches in, just so I had the chainsaw running to line it up. So I'll mill this before I process these, and if the timber is absolutely drop dead gorgeous, then I'll try and mill these to the same cut line. So once it's all dried and a client wants to buy the whole board, then we have the pieces that can be glued on. It won't be perfectly lined up, but it's more than just having, you know, this straight edge. So now personally, I think it's best to kind of mill elm as fast as you can. You see, you know, that's where it's been, you know, standing dead wood for a while. It's faded a little bit, but the fresher stuff I got in where it's still got bark on it has amazing colors coming through. And just look at that, absolutely beautiful.